भाग में हम आपसे किसी ऐसे विषय पर बातचीत करते हैं जो कि हम सब की ज़िंदगियों पर असर करे या जिसकी हम सबको चिंता हो या जिसके बारे में हम सब बात करना चाह रहे हों। प्रोग्राम के दूसरे भाग में आपकी डेडिकेशंस, आपकी रिक्वेस्ट होती हैं। आज जिस विषय पर हम बात करने जा रहे हैं वो है फॉस्टर केयर। आपने हमारे MATV चैनल पर एक एडवर्ट शायद देखी हो जो कि फॉस्टर केयर एसोसिएट्स ने हमें वो दिखाने के लिए दी थी और फॉस्टरिंग के बारे में ये एडवर्ट थी, ये कमर्शियल थी। आज फॉस्टरिंग के बारे में ही बात करने हमारे स्टूडियो में दो मेहमान उपस्थित हैं। स्वागत करते हैं सबसे पहले जैकी एडवर्ड्स जो कि फॉस्टर केयर एसोसिएट्स के मिडलैंड्स रीजन की डायरेक्टर हैं। Thank you for coming in, Jackie.
Thank you for asking us. Good evening to everyone.
And also, we'd also like to welcome Dr. SYED RAZA Hussain, who's a GP from Birmingham and has recently been approved as a foster carer. Thank you for coming in.
It's a sheer delight, and thank you very much indeed for inviting us both.
Thanks. Jackie, I'd start with you first. Tell us a little bit about what Foster Care Associates actually does, what the organization's all about.
And Foster Care Associates is an independent fostering agency. We're a national company. We have over 40 offices and we have 10 offices across the Midlands area. We really exist to find family placements, foster homes for children on behalf of the local authority. Primarily the children that we place are those that the local authority finds difficulty in placing themselves. But we also place younger children and babies if we have a suitable carer and the local authority doesn't.
So you work in conjunction with the local authority, do you?
Yes, indeed. All our referrals for placements for children are made by local authority social services departments, and they usually telephone us in the first instance with the details of the child to see if we've got a suitable match with a foster carer.
Are there many agencies like yours running in the Midlands?
In the Midlands there are probably 4 or 5 similar agencies. Nationally there are about 85 independent. This is the largest national company. They currently look after over 1,000 children. We have over 600 foster carers and as I say they're spread from the south of the country right into the north. We recently opened an office in Scotland and we're opening one in Northern Ireland this year.
Right, so you're almost a link between foster carers and the local authority.
Yes, we are. We support the carers ourselves. We recruit, we train, we support them, and we look after the children. But the local authority social services department pays us a fee to.
Syeda Munazza Hussain's been recently approved as a foster carer by yourself. I'd like to ask him how he actually developed an interest in fostering. You just mentioned that you go out, you advertise. Was it through this advertising process that you developed an interest?
Thank you very much indeed for such a pertinent and I feel strongly extremely relevant question to the subject matter. Yes, perhaps I can put it in proper perspective to do full justice to your question and for the benefit of the listeners as well, and viewers for that matter. To put it in perspective, I have been involved as a general practitioner for over 30 years with the population up and down the country. All walks of life, socioeconomic groups, ethnic origin, black, white, Asian, Chinese, whatever. And all my life as a family physician, a caring, sharing family physician, I have come across so many situations which really touched my heart. I repeat, it really touched my heart. How? Imagine a situation where the family is breaking up and a child, if not more children, are out there at the disposal of the world. Nobody wants to know the child. At the end of the day, as the caring, sharing family physician, I've got to involve the social services department. And I'm most grateful that they have always come up with a social worker to bear me out. I've solved so many situations that I've lost count of it, but there have been situations where there has been very, very frustrating failures indeed. I must paint not only the rosy picture, but be factual as well. I'm sure Jackie will bear me out on that. Now, having sorted out so many problems and problematic children in terms of foster care, a food for thought came, my goodness me, there is such a wide gap between the supply and demand. And here I am trying desperately to place a child with a couple or a person who could care and share. Why not me, myself, and my wife for that matter? This was the food for thought, which really came as a revelation from heavens above, if you like. I came home, I talked to my wife. I'm most grateful to her that she wholeheartedly agreed to accept from the depth of her heart my idea of offering our services as carers. Now, how did I get actually involved? I did a bit of research work. I had various options, starting from the social services right up to the private agencies. I did a bit of research, as I said earlier on. I read the material about FCA and I thought, that's one authority or organization, if you like, which really comes up to my expectations as a professional with 30 years of standing in NHS service as a GP and providing care and share in different places. And I think I can set a liaison with them. So I got in touch with them. They sent me literature, which I studied along with my wife. And we filled up the appropriate application forms. We were shortlisted, we were invited. I'm delighted to say that eventually, in principle, they accepted us, my wife and myself. And that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Thereafter, the experts from FCA started visiting me and my wife at our residence, discussing various aspects of the foster care, providing us bits and pieces of very useful and practical information, involving us into discussion and getting our ideas across, what we felt as prospective carers, and helping us to iron out the possible difficulties as and when they might come up. Now, with that hindsight, the next stage was that we were involved in group discussions at their office, local office in Birmingham, where other foster carers like ourselves were also invited in group discussions, in audiovisual presentations, in workshops, and then on one-to-one basis. I'm most grateful, and in fact, Jackie will bear me out, that their staff has really tremendous amount of knowledge and useful material to pass on to, and their input honestly cannot be overemphasized. So eventually, to cut a very long story short, because of the constraint of time upon us, I would conclude my answer to your question is, eventually we were thoroughly assessed, our background was researched, including that of our two children, and we were presented as a couple before an expert panel for comprising of 60 ladies and gentlemen from various, coming from various walks of life, all experts in their respective fields. And I'm delighted that they most kindly approved our humble application. And here we are, with delight and pleasure, to serve the cause of humanity.
Sounds excellent. Jackie, this whole process, like Dr. Hussain just said, the whole process of vetting and selecting, getting people accepted as foster carers sounds very lengthy and time-consuming and almost a bit daunting for somebody. Dr. Hussain's a professional, a GP, who's been working in that field for a long time. He said that he came across children who have this need. What about a layperson on the road who hasn't got this background of information, who hasn't got this wealth of knowledge to take with them when they apply for foster carers?
I mean, Dr. Hussain is a very articulate, a very well-educated man, but the thing about fostering, the thing about fostering is people come from all walks of life. They could be couples who've raised a family, they might be single people, they could be people that have worked in a professional capacity with children, perhaps as social workers or as teachers or as health workers. They, as I say, come from all walks of life. The process can sound very daunting, but it's meant to help people decide if fostering's for them. So we start off with an initial visit. Someone comes to the home and just talks through the process with the would-be applicants, and at that point they can say, no, it's not for me. and that's fine. If they decide they want to pursue it further, we fill in an application form which gives some basic details. We have to take up references and police checks because we have to make sure,
working with children,
absolutely, that children are safe, and that's part of the process. Then there'll be some training sessions which we run, which gives the carers or the would-be carers a flavour of what fostering is like.
Okay.
And that would include some case studies and some different situations.
Right.
Other foster carers would help them as well, get involved, talk to them about it. And then we do what is a home study, which is takes about 3 months of visits from your assessor, who then fills in a very detailed assessment report with you about your whole family, what you feel you've got to offer, what your skills and experiences are, which eventually is presented to our fostering panel, which is Dr. Hussain described as an independent panel. It's made up of different members from different, we have a medical advisor, we have a legal advisor, and we have a foster carer, we have social workers, health workers on that panel. So they're made up of some lay people as well, who then make a recommendation as to the suitability of the applicant. So the whole process could take up to 6 to 8 months from the point of someone making an
application
to
getting approved.
Yeah.
And then to the stage of actually being given a child to foster. Does that take?
Some carers start off by doing what we call respite care, which is short breaks to give another carer a break. It could be a day care or an overnight or a weekend, because fostering is difficult and people.
अपने बच्चे foster कर रहे हैं, मतलब respite care के तौर पर अभी हाल ही में अपने बच्चे कौन सी उम्र के बच्चे foster करें?
जी विनती, फिर से आपका बहुत ही खूबसूरत सवाल। देखिए जनाब, ये मेरी और मेरी बेगम, पहले मैं कहूँगा कि मेरी बेगम पहले और मैं बाद में, लेडीज़ फर्स्ट के मस्ताक, ये हमारी ट्रेनिंग का एक हिस्सा था। और इस ट्रेनिंग के इस हिस्से को मेरी बेगम ने और मैंने बिल्कुल उसी अंदाज में निभाया जैसे कि हम अपने 2 फूल से मासूम बच्चों को कुछ अर्सा पहले उनकी हम जैसे केयर किया करते थे, उनकी अपब्रिंगिंग किया करते थे।
क्योंकि आपके बच्चे तो अब बड़े हो गए हैं, दोनों सेटल
जी
हैं।
माशाल्लाह जी।
तो छोटे बच्चों को फॉस्टर करना मुश्किल रहा आपके लिए?
यकीन कीजिए बिंती जी कि ऐसी कतल कोई बात नहीं थी। इट केम जस्ट लाइक दैट, जैसे कि हम भूले ही नहीं है। अच्छा, वो छोटे से 2 बच्चे, फूल से बच्चे, एक 2 साल की बच्ची और एक 5 साल की बच्ची, ये दोनों बहनें हैं।
अच्छा।
और
जो ही हमें पता चला, SYED ने हमें कहा कि भाई क्या आप तैयार होंगे इनको लेने के लिए? तो मैंने अपनी बीवी को छेड़छाड़ के अंदाज में पूछा, भाई फिर से माँ बनने का इरादा है?
अच्छा।
तो बहुत ही प्यारे अंदाज में कहने लगी कि आप अबू बनने के लिए फिर से तैयार हैं?
अच्छा।
मैंने कहा जी, इससे बढ़ के प्लेजर और क्या हो सकता है?
अच्छा।
तो यकीन कीजिए कि इस खूबसूरत अंदाज में हमने उन 2 बच्चों को रेस्पाइट केयर दी।
अच्छा।
जो कि हमारे रेगुलर केयर खातून जो थी, उनको भी वक्त मिल गया छुट्टी गुजारने का।
अच्छा।
इतवार का दिन है, वो बाहर गुजारना चाहती हैं, और हम मियाँ बीवी घर में बैठे हुए हैं, फारिग हैं, और अगर बाहर जाना भी है तो हम दोनों बच्चों को साथ लेके जा सकते हैं।
अच्छा।
अपनी तमाम डेली एक्टिविटीज में उनको बहुत खूबसूरती के साथ फिट इन कर सकते हैं। तो जनाब हमने बड़े शौक से ऑफर किया। और यकीन कीजिए बिंती जी, सीइंग इज बिलीविंग। इनके स्टाफ वहाँ पे मौजूद थे, बार बार देखते रहे, एसेस करते रहे रेगुलर बेसिस पे। और ये 1 या 2 दिन नहीं, कई सेशंस पे हुआ है ये।
अच्छा।
हमने उनको रेस्पाइट केयर प्रोवाइड की है।
अच्छा।
बच्चों से भी उनकी फीलिंग्स पूछी गई।
अच्छा।
जो रेगुलर केयर है उससे भी उनकी ओपिनियन पूछी गई।
अच्छा।
एंड मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंटली इन्होंने हमें एनकरेज किया कि भाई इस सिलसिला को और आगे बढ़ाइए। तो जनाब मैं समझता हूँ कि ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है कि मेरे बच्चे, मेरी बेगम, हम बड़े हो गए हैं बच्चे तो हम वो ममता और वो पिराना शफकत जो है वो हम भूल बैठे हैं। ऐसी भी क्या बात है जी, बच्चा बच्चा है, फूल की तरह। उस फूल को जब भी देखिएगा खुशबू से मुअत्तर हो जाएंगे, तबीयत शाद हो जाएगी आपकी।
अच्छा।
और इस फूल को जितना प्यार कीजिएगा, अल्लाह भी खुश, बंदा भी खुश। इससे बढ़ के क्या सुहानी, ये देखिए बायसे सुकून हो सकती है बात, सब कुछ।
लेकिन कुछ मुश्किलात आई आपको जब आपने छोटे बच्चों को फॉस्टर करा? कितनी देर के लिए पहले फॉस्टर करा?
जी शुक्रिया। देखिए वक्फे पे हफ्ते में 2 बार हम उन्हें लिया करते थे, कभी वीकेंड में, कभी ड्यूरिंग द वीक। मैं ज़ाहिर है कि सर्जरी सुबह शाम करता हूँ, इन बिटवीन दोपहर को आके अपनी बेगम के साथ मिल जाता था। और छोटी बच्ची खास तौर पे मुझे अपना अब्बू समझते हुए बड़े प्यार के साथ मेरी गोद में आ बैठती थी, और मैं उसे वही प्यार दिया करता था जिसकी कि वो मतलाशी थी बेचारी। और ये सिलसिला जो है ये कुछ हफ्तों के लिए चला और हम चाहते हैं अपॉर्चुनिटी हमें अल्लाह करे एक जल्द से जल्द मिले. वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू इट विद प्लेजर कि हमको बच्चे मिलें और हम जो कुछ भी असराह इंसानियत उनके लिए कर सकते हैं दिलो जान से करने के लिए.
One thing that might actually put people off fostering, you've just said it's a beautiful experience, बहुत खूबसूरत पूरा जो आपका एहसास रहा. But one thing that might put people off is the temporary aspect of it, to actually part from the children when you get attached to them. Is there any way around that, or can that child be offered, I know, for a break, like you said, if the parents need a break, you offer it to the same foster carer again and again?
Yes, we'd set up a system whereby if a child was having regular breaks, they would go to the regular carer.
Okay.
I think part of the training that we do with foster carers is to prepare them for the types of situations where a child might come into the looked after system. So a child might need to be looked after for a short while their parent learns how to parent them.
Okay.
And then so the carers might actually be working with the birth parent to help her resume the care of the children. In other situations, children won't be able to go home because of the abuse that they've suffered.
Right.
And then the work that will be done with those children will be to help them overcome the trauma of their experiences and of the abuse, and to then prepare them to live in the longer term in a family. And so the preparation and the training that we do with our carers helps them to work with that. Yes, carers get attached to children. You can't look after children without getting attached to them. You're a human. And social workers do as well.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably the biggest drawback.
Why when children go to adoption.
Yeah.
I mean, our best carers are very attached to the children. They've worked on the plan. They've helped to select the adopters in some cases. They've prepared the child to move. The adopters have visited them within their home, and it's been really positive. So even though they've been upset at parting with a child, they've been happy because the child's now got a family for the rest of their life. And then they have a cry, and then they move on to the next piece of work.
Yeah. आपके लिए ऐसा था?
जी नहीं, मैं सच बोलूँगा और सच के सिवा कुछ नहीं बोलूँगा. So help me God. यकीन कीजिए, चंद लम्हात के लिए ही सही उन मुरझाई हुई प्यारी सी मासूम बच्चियों के मुरझाए हुए चेहरों पे अगर चंद लम्हात के लिए ही हम मुस्कुराहट ला सके तो मैं समझता हूँ कि हमने न सिर्फ उनके लिए कुछ किया बल्कि अपने लिए बहुत कुछ किया. हाँ, कुदरती बात है अटैचमेंट. अगर आप एक चिड़िया का बच्चा रखती हैं, एक कबूतर पालती हैं या कुत्ता बिल्ली रखती हैं तो उसके साथ अटैचमेंट हो जाती है. इंसान के बच्चे तो माशाल्लाह इंसान के बच्चे होता जरूर है, ये तो एक इंसानियत की वो है. लेकिन हमें पता है कुछ आदाब हैं, कुछ कंस्ट्रेंट्स हैं और कुछ यानी जिसे वो कहते हैं ना कि लॉज एंड रेगुलेशंस के अंदर हमें काम करना है. हम अपने जज्बात को काबू में रखते हैं, उन्हें वक्ती तौर पे प्यार, मोहब्बत, खलूस, ममता, पिदराना, शफकत सभी कुछ देते हैं. लेकिन अंदर जो हमारे जो बात है वो ये है कि हमने उस हद को क्रॉस नहीं करना है कि बच्चे बाद में हमको मिस करें और हम बैठे हुए रुमाल के साथ अपनी आंखें जो भीगी हुई है उन्हें सिखा करें.
लगता है हमारे पहले कॉलर फोन पर वेट कर रहे हैं हमारा. हेलो हेलो. वालेकुम सलाम. कौन बोल रहा है?
ये पाकिस्तान का नंबर है.
पाकिस्तान का नंबर नहीं, अभी आप पाकिस्तान नहीं पहुंचे, ये लेस्टर का ही नंबर है. I think she got a cross line to Pakistan there.
Oh, right.
It often happens.
जी कभी ऐसा भी होता है.
हमारे दर्शकों को कुछ कहना चाहेंगे फॉस्टरिंग के बारे में कि लोग फॉस्टर और ज़्यादा करें या ना करें या इसकी क्या डेंजर्स हैं?
जी मैं ममनून एहसान हूँ जो आपने मुझे एक मैं समझता हूँ कि ये फ़र्ज़ अदा करने का मुझे ये मौका अता फरमाया है. देखिए जनाब, सीधी सारी सी बात है, एक मिसाल एक कायम करनी है, हो चुकी है. भूल चाहिए कि मैं एक डॉक्टर हूँ. मैं जब ट्रेनिंग के लिए गया था तो मैंने किसी को नहीं बताया था कि मैं डॉक्टर हूँ. थोड़े से लोग जानते थे बीच में, लेकिन मैं जहाँ तक हो सका मैंने अपनी बैकग्राउंड को महफूज रखा ताकि किसी को इस बात का एहसास ना हो. और यकीन कीजिए कि वहाँ पे जितने लोग थे फ्रॉम ऑर्डनरी वॉक ऑफ लाइफ जिनमें मैंने भी खुद को शुमार किया अपना प्रोफेशनलिज्म घर छोड़कर, और मैंने वहाँ पे उन्हीं स्टूडेंट्स की तरह इफ यू लाइक اس کو سیکھا ہے, اس ہنر کو سیکھا ہے, اور اس وجہ سے کہ مجھے پورا احساس ہے کہ ایشین کمیونٹی میں خاص طور پہ کیئررز کی بہت قلت ہے, بہت کمی ہے, بچے زیادہ ہیں اور کیئررز جو ہے وہ کم ہے. چلتے چلتے مختصراً 2 باتیں اگر آپ اجازت دیں تو. پہلی بات جو ہے جناب, جہاں تک ہو سکے بچے پھول ہیں, انہیں پھول کی طرح نرچر اور کلچر کیجئے. للہ دوسروں کے رحم و کرم پہ مت چھوڑیے. آپ کو اللہ نے بچہ دیا ہے, اپنے پیرنٹس کے طور پہ ذمہ داری کو سمجھیے. میرا مطلب جو ہے فاسٹنگ کی بات وہیں پہ ہوتی ہے جہاں پہ کہ ڈیورس کی نوبت آتی ہے, جہاں پہ کہ فیملی سپلٹ ہوتی ہے. ایسا کرنے سے پہلے للہ رکیے, سوچئے کہ جس پھول کو اس دنیا میں ہم لائے ہیں, ہمیں میاں کو تو بیوی مل جائے گی, بیوی کو میاں مل جائے گا, اس بیچارے معصوم بچے کو ماں کہاں سے ملے گی, باپ کہاں سے ملے گا. یہ مقام ہے فاسٹر کیئرر کا. آئیے بھرپور حصہ لیجئے اس لگن کے ساتھ. دیکھیے ایف سی اے نے آپ کو سپورٹ کرنا ہے, آپ کے اخراجات کو, آپ کے جو محنتانہ ہے وہ آپ کو دینا ہے, سٹاف سے بھی سپورٹ دینا ہے, لیکن آپ کا میرا اصلی ریوارڈ جو ہے وہ اللہ کی طرف سے آنا ہے.
بہت خوبصورت آپ نے کہا. At the end, Jackie, I'd just like you to give the number out again for our viewers who are interested in becoming foster carers.
Yes, it's 0800 085 225.
0800.
Please give us a ring.
225. Thank you both so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best in this excellent venture. And I hope all our viewers who've been watching today will take advantage of this number that you've just given out, or else they could ring us here at MATV and we could give them the details. Thank you again for coming in.
May I, on behalf of FCA, Jackie, and on my personal behalf, thank you very much indeed for giving us this opportunity to address this very, very serious problem. I can only pray from the depth of heart. God bless you.
Thank you.
All I have to
Thank
say.
you so much for
Thank
coming.
you very much indeed.
Okay. یہ تو تھے ہمارے آج کے مہمان. بریک